I'm really excited because I'm going to be showing you how to do a very basic makeup look. And you could wear this look going out on the town, you could go to a party, a gala, whatever. It's just a basic step-by-step tutorial of what I do for a simple look. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is prime my eyes. Now, a lot of people use a primer. I don't use a primer that often. Instead of going out and getting a very expensive one, I'll just use either foundation or concealer. And you want to use a primer so that it stays on your eyes all night, because without a primer, your eyeshadow will get dull throughout the night, and you don't want that. So I am just going to use my Tarte concealer. It's like this. And I'm just going to start by putting a little dab on my eyes like this. It really doesn't take a lot. Okay. And for this, you can just use your finger to blend it out, or you can use a brush. I am going to use my concealer brush just because it gives it a better look. Perfect. So now that I have primed my eye, I'm going to go on top of this with a very light eyeshadow. And you want it to be something that's a little lighter than your skin tone. And so I'm going to take my fluffy brush like this, just a nice blending brush. And I'm taking my Born to Run eyeshadow palette from Urban Decay. And I'm just gonna get a very light color. And as you can see, this color right here, I use quite often, so has a lot of love. Just gonna dab that in there a little bit. And I'm just gonna pat with this brush. I'm just gonna pat it on my eye and get that everywhere. Because also you don't want your brush sticking and creating clumps whenever you're trying to do your darker colors. Just like that. And once you kind of get a nice base going, then you can go back and forth with some very gentle sweeps. And the way you hold your brush, you want to hold it very lightly towards the end. Because you don't want to hold it too tight, or again, you can have some issues while you're blending. So just very lightly, and also very lightly touch your eyelid. You don't want to use too much force. Perfect. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get a color that's now a little darker than my skin tone, and that's going to start the process. And what you want to do, so have your brow bone right here. And the way you can find that is by kind of pushing in like this and seeing where that is. And that's where you want your eyeshadow to go, is right in this crease area. So I'm going to get this color. It's called Riff. So it's this one right here. I'm going to take that color and I'm just going to go along that crease. I always tap off a little bit of the excess so it's not too much going in. So you're going to find where that line was, and you're just going to gently sweep across very lightly, back and forth along the arc of that bone, of that crease. Just like that. And you can keep repeating this until you get the color that you want. So now you can still see that difference between where the brow bone is and just where that crease is, and it has a nice arc to it. So we don't want to go past that line. Now I'm going to take a darker color, and I'm also going to use this brush. It's kind of a smudge brush. And I'm going to go into this color called Punk. It's a nice, dark, rich color. Whoops. This one. I really like this one. It has a lot of pigment to it, so you really got to be careful with it. Just dip it in, and I'm going to come right below that line. I'm going to start on this side. I'm just going to come to the edge here and use sweeping up motions and apply this color here. You don't have to worry so much about this being too dark, because we're going to go back in with our blending brush and smooth it all out. Follow right underneath that other color. And again, I'm just sweeping the color on the inside. So kind of going just like that, very lightly. Okay, so now that we got that, we're gonna go back to our blending brush, and without putting any more product on it, we're just gonna blend this out. Buffing out the edges. I am now going to get a flat brush. It's kind of like this. It's pretty thin. And I'm going to go with a very light kind of shimmer color. So I'm going to use Breakaway. And it's this color right here. And I'm going to pull this color from the edge here up to where it meets this dark color in that center. And with this one, I'm kind of patting and sweeping, but this time I'm going down with the color. So now I'm going to use the same brush, but I'm going to use a more of a shimmer color. And that is this one right here. It's called Standard, right there. And we put it right on top of the color that I just put. So right in this area here at the bottom. Now you don't have to use a shimmer for this look, but it just gives it such a nice finish. And again, I'm sweeping down this time. So now all I'm going to do is go back through each step and repeat the process just a little bit so that all the colors kind of come forward. So the first thing, our blending brush. Back into that color riff. I'm going to just go right on top of everything. Very gently. Back into the color Punk, that deep brown color. And bring that to the edge and sweep in. Go back over that color and blend it out. I'm not going to repeat the color Breakaway, that very first light color I did, but I am going to add a little bit more of Stranded, so that very shimmery color right here. And I'm just going to put it at the corner of my eye. So not too much. This is really going to make that corner pop. It's a nice little smoky eye, not too much. And now I'm just going to add some eyeliner. Now I use a cream eyeliner. So it's just this little jar here. I think this is L'Oreal. I use L'Oreal this time. And it comes with a little brush. And if eyeliner, like an eye pencil works better for you, that's totally fine. But I like to use this cream one because I really like the brightness of it. Come right under that waterline. And I always use waterproof eyeliner and mascara, or else it'll look like I have been crying all day for no reason. So always do waterproof. So next I am going to take Benefit's They're Real. Is that magnet? Yes, They're Real. This is my favorite mascara. I have used all kinds, and by far this from Benefit is my favorite. All right, on to the face. So the first thing you want to do before you even begin your eyes or anything like that is wash your face and use moisturizer. I cannot stress that enough, because if your face is dry or if your face starts to have like peel stuff with it, then your makeup will also do the same and it won't be good. It'll be very detrimental to your makeup look. So always use moisturizer. So first things first, I am going to use Benefit's The Professional Primer. It's like this. Clearly, I have used that a lot as well. And I'm just going to apply this all over my face. It's the same thing with your eyes. You want a primer so that your look will stay and your makeup will glide right on top without problem, and it will stay all night. So I just use my finger and I'm going to massage that in. You can show your face a little love at this step. Now I am going to take my foundation brush. It just looks like this. It's kind of flat. And I use Bare Minerals Bare Pro foundation. This has been my favorite foundation for a few years now. It's very long lasting. I love it. So I don't know why I came up with this trick, but I get a mason jar lid, and of course I clean it off. I get a mason jar lid and I just put 2 or 3 pumps of foundation onto this. And because I use the brush, that's all I need. It really doesn't take a lot. If you're using your hands or like a sponge, I find myself needing more because it takes a lot more to cover up all the spots. But with this brush, it glides on so smooth. I love it. I'm going to apply this all over our face. And do not forget to apply foundation to your ears and your neck. I see people do that all the time, especially with shades that are not even close to their skin color. So then you just kind of look like the mask, and that's not good at all. Now that our foundation is done, I am going to take Tarte. This is one of also my favorite concealers that I use. It's Shape Tape Contour Concealer. This is a very thick concealer, so a little bit goes a long way. And all I'm going to do with this is highlight my face. And once I apply it, I'm going to take my concealer brush again, the one that we used for my eyes from before, to smooth it out. So I have gotten the question a lot of why people do triangles or on their cheeks and stuff. And it took me a long time to kind of figure that out too. I was just doing it because I guess everybody else was doing it too. That's really not a good reason, but it's why I did it. But I came to the realization that you're doing this because you're literally highlighting those areas on your face. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out, but it did. So, I'm going to do the chin, the top of the lip, the nose. I'm only going to do a little bit, very light amount on the nose because I'm not going to be using a lot of contour today. I might not even use contour at all because this is going to be pretty basic and simple. So again, get your concealer brush and we're going to blend this out all in the highlighted areas. So just make sure that you get that very well blended into the other foundation, not all over your face, but enough so there's not lines and creases, again, between your foundation and that concealer. I'm going to go in with a very, very light, this is a Sephora brand. It's called Bright Future. This is another concealer, and I'm going to put this right underneath my eyes. This is going to help cover up any of the dark circles and brighten up my eyes. So this really doesn't take a lot at all. I just put a few dots underneath. Go back in with that concealer brush from before and blend it out. Okay, now that our concealers and everything are done, I am going to get my face powder. And the powder, not everyone uses it, but I use it so that it sets the entire look. It will cover up any of the streaks. It will diminish the lines between all the different concealers. So I am using CoverGirl's. This is Blend Minerals. I don't know. My typical powder I use is also Bare Minerals, but I don't have that today, so we're going to use CoverGirl. And CoverGirl is actually not bad either, so I actually like it. Tap off the excess on it because this powder goes everywhere. I'm going to take a very big fluffy powder brush. It's this one. The next thing I'm going to use is blush. And this kind of takes the place sometimes of the contour that I'll use. I don't always put the blush up on my forehead or down here, but it will give a nice dimension to the cheeks here. This one, clearly I also use a lot. It's a nice tea berry shade. I've had this one for a little while. I'm gonna take just a nice blush brush. Goodness, blush brush. So it's a little less fluffy than the powder brush that we used. Just, goodness. Just dip that in, tap off the excess. And I use a mix of sweeping motions and circles, because you don't want to use like the clown circles where you just put it right there in the center of your cheeks. Don't do that. Time to shape the eyebrows. Again, like the eyelashes, I was blessed with some thick, pretty nice eyebrows, so I don't have to go in with a brow pencil often, unless I overcorrect my brows, then I definitely use the pencil. So I'm just gonna get a little tiny eyebrow brush, nothing fancy, and just brush the brows, get them to the shape I want them. Now, I'm just going to use a lip color. You can use really anything for this look because I didn't use some dramatic colors like reds or blues or anything. So you can really use any color. I am going to just use a simple lip gloss. This is a Sephora Glossed. Elevates the look a little bit. It really doesn't take a lot at all. There we go. Now, oftentimes you're going to want to use some form of face setting spray, whether you go and buy an actual setting spray, and those tend to run a little expensive. You can get some from e.l.f. It's in a little small bottle. But oftentimes, a lot of people will use, especially if you're like a performer sometimes, you'll use, don't tell anyone I said this, but hairspray. I know it's crazy. I know a lot of people are going to say, but it's so bad for you. Okay. But if you're in a pinch, hairspray will lock that in tight for the entire night and you will not have to worry about your makeup going anywhere. So that's up to you. And that completes our very simple makeup look. Like I said, you can go out on the town with this, you can go to a party, a gala, whatever that event may be, because it's very simple, but it looks really nice. I hope this helped you, and I hope you have a great time at whatever event you're going to. Love you guys. Mwah.